Hello, everyone, and welcome to Burn the Ship, the podcast that helps entrepreneurs go all in on their business, and we introduce them to professionals that can help them to do so. Today, we have a very special guest. Jim, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, man. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good, thanks. Go ahead and introduce yourself and the name of your business.
All right. Well, I'm Jim Crumbley. I'm with Risk Response Team. We are a security systems integrator based out of Lawrenceville, Georgia, that services all of Georgia and really the Southeast, the neighboring states. We can do some work over there as well. And so we do large-scale security integration platforms for the K-12 market, higher education, municipalities, and some commercial.
Awesome. Look forward to hearing about that. But I understand you got a magnificent journey, and time is one of our most valuable resources. So go ahead and tell us a little bit about that journey.
Well, I never really started out to be an entrepreneur. It was not something I thought a lot about. I was doing consulting work. I'm an old Marine, and then after I got out of the Marines in the early 2000s after 9/11, I did a lot of consulting work here in the U.S. and also in Europe. And I was kind of living the life a bit that I like. I was going and I was training, I was consulting, taking care of some threat situations, things like that. And I really started learning that I was not building a business. I was building a lifestyle.
Okay.
I was building something I enjoyed doing. I was traveling. The travel was really too much, but I still liked it. But I was going to Sweden and Norway and Germany and UK and France. And I was doing a lot of work, and plus all over the U.S. It's not nearly as glamorous as it sounds like, because when you go flying to Stockholm, you see the airport, the highway, the hotel, where you're working, and then you come back.
Yes.
But still, it was a lot of fun for me. But I realized I was not building a business. I was just building a lifestyle. And I began that process of going, okay, what is it I need to do long term? Because if I want to do something, I was challenged by my wife, actually. She was saying that we don't have a lot to leave our kids. And I was in my mid-40s at the time. And she said, we don't have a whole lot to leave the kids, a lot of legacy. And so I tried to kind of sugarcoat it. Well, yeah, we're giving them work experience. We're giving them this. We're doing adventures, which is all true. But she said, yeah, but when we go, we're not going to give them seed. And I'm like, are you expecting me to go anytime soon? But she said, I want to do that. So I shifted what I was doing to become more of an entrepreneur, to build something that was important for my wife.
Yes. Makes a lot of sense. Now, as you were going through that particular transition, I'm sure there was something that happened that went ahead and became the catalyst to make you burn the ship and go all onto it. Was there an event that happened that made that happen for you?
Yeah, bankruptcy.
Okay.
The first time I went out on my own, I failed spectacularly.
Okay.
If you're gonna do something, win or lose, you might as well go in all the way. And I just screwed everything up. I didn't do the accounting correctly. I mean, these are the things that are not natural for me. I'm just a doer. And I didn't do anything properly the way I was supposed to do it. And so the catalyst of truly becoming an entrepreneur was I sat down with a buddy. I happened to be the pastor of the church Don and I were at the time. And I was talking to him. Hey, this is where I am financially. This is what I'm doing. This is how I've messed up. And he just looked at me and said, all right, get an accountant, get a CPA, do everything that CPA says, do this, start filing this, do that. And my natural tendency, I'm a bit of a rebel, so my natural tendency is to kind of push back. And that catalyst, that moment to me, I call my okay moment. Everything inside of me said, no, I want to. And I looked at him and just said, okay. And I did everything that he said to do. Now, the good thing about him, he was a great pastor, but he was also a good entrepreneur. So he owned multiple houses. He had several businesses. He was really, really successful in real estate. And he's actually left the ministry, and he's now doing processing of tithes and gifts for churches, and he's really successful. So anyway, in other words, I just looked at somebody that was better than I am, further along than I am, maybe where I wanted to be, and I said, okay.
Yeah.
And that was the catalyst for truly setting up a true business. So instead of being J. Crumbley and Associates, which was mostly just me and maybe some off-duty cops, retired FBI people that I pulled in to help me with some stuff, I actually said, okay, I'm going to build a business and we're going to do security systems integration. And that was the catalyst.
Awesome. It's a bunch of lessons inside of what you shared, because we are alpha type people, and we know better than most people. And in that particular instance, to be honest, you humbled yourself to a mentor, and it's important for us to have those mentors out there to help us, to guide us through different situations. So yes, I can see how your okay moment was you accepting the fact that, hey, I'm going to take advice from someone, and that in itself, especially a military leader like yourself, I know you can't tell me those things that you did, but I know some strategic security situations I can just tell. So that's awesome that you took that. Now, tell us all about the business. So you made the decision, you went all in on it. Now tell us about what it is you do and who you're helping.
All right. So initially, at that point, I incorporated under our current name, Risk Response Team. And we wanted to be able to respond to your risk. And mostly at that time, it was focused on project management and design work. So we kind of did the integration, the smarts behind it.
Okay.
Now, the truth is, security has become extremely technology driven. So especially then, I couldn't spell IT if you spotted me the I. I didn't know anything about it.
Yes.
But I knew enough to find people that did know something about it. And so I started looking down that pathway when we were doing the integrations and the project management. And I brought him, actually my oldest son, Chad. He was doing house designs at the time. We had the real estate crash in 2008. He was only working a few hours a week. And I said, well, I think I could probably find you 20 hours. Well, here, that was 2008. Now it's 2025. He's the chief strategy officer and key to what we're building here within our company. But as we transitioned, I looked for opportunities. And I think there are two things that happens when you're trying to set up a business. You want to be an entrepreneur. Number one, you think you have to be the guy, the man. You got to have all the answers. You got to know what you're doing. No, you got to find people that know what they're doing. And your best responsibility is to lead people where you want to go and help them find their passion to where they want to go. So that was number one. And then number two was more along the lines of me discovering that I could get things done. All the skills that I had learned previously in my life about organizing and the 5-paragraph order: situation, mission, execution, administration, logistics, command and signals. All right, SMEAC. It's been there forever. I took those principles and I applied them to my business. And that's what we started doing. And when I began doing that and becoming mission focused, my job is to make my customer look good, make my customer succeed, make my customer reach their goals and secure in their facility. I suddenly had customers saying, well, can you service that camera? Can you put up that card reader? Can you pull that wire? And my stock answer is yes. And then I would find people that could do it. And we began building that and pulling in former military, because we love being able to hire that. So we pulled in a guy who was crew chief 2 tours in Iraq, a crew chief on a Chinook helicopter, Army guy, and really a good guy. And I've known, when he was in Tiger Cubs, I knew this kid.
My goodness.
And I led him when he was in Tiger Cubs. And now he's working with us. And he's the COO running our entire operations because we saw an opportunity to go from where we were and started laying out a pathway to get where we wanted to be.
Thank you so much for sharing the foundation of the business and how you got to this particular point. I want to create on the canvas a clear picture for the people that are watching today. Who would you say is that ideal person you're trying to get in front of? Is it a commercial building? Is it residential? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, what we try to get in front of is the technology side of the business.
Okay.
Right. So we because of my background and because I did investigations for years, I worked with law enforcement, I worked with high level security. I understood what their needs were.
Okay.
And then I've got a good technology team behind me, and I can spell IT now, but I've got a good technology team behind me. Chad, Jason, Michael, Stephen, all of these guys are Caden. They're all so good. So I have them behind me, so we become that bridge between law enforcement and IT.
Okay.
Typically, IT really is historically was hesitant to get in on the law enforcement or the security side because they don't understand it. And law enforcement and security, they didn't understand the technology. We became that bridge between these two groups, and that's what's built our success. So we want to get in front of, obviously, decision makers, but we want the technology people to trust that we're not going to mess up their network, that we're not going to do something that overburdens what they've got set up already, that our system will work within their infrastructure. And then we want to be able to talk to law enforcement and security and safety personnel and make sure that they're not installing things that seem glamorous, seem sexy, seem cool, have all the bells and whistles, but are really not going to help you secure your facility and safeguard your people.
Okay, awesome. So as you talk about your different referral partners, sound like MSPs are a good one for you. Who would be some additional opportunity givers for you that we can try to help get you in front of?
Well, that's great. I think on the K-12 side, it's school board members, high-level administrators. On the law enforcement side, police chief, sheriffs, these type of people that are dealing with this stuff. And really, our niche has become K-12 and higher education in municipalities.
Okay.
That's really become our niche.
Okay. Oh, that's a good deal. Yeah, as we're talking about it, I'm having referrals, flow through our mind. So that's why I was thinking about some opportunities like that. Now, with it, you said you do go outside of just the Lawrenceville area. What is the furthest that you really want to go? And tell us a little bit more about that geographical area.
Well, we're in South Georgia right now. I've got a couple of guys in Columbus right now that's doing a large job. We help several technical colleges in Georgia that are down way far down south, way below the gnat line.
Okay.
So we pay our people well.
Right.
We give them good benefits. I live frugally, so I can pay my people, and we give them places to live. So we rent a Airbnb. We put them up. We make sure they're eating well. So we really would go anywhere: Birmingham, Chattanooga, Nashville. Knoxville, up into the Carolinas, up into Asheville area, all into South Carolina, over really just about anywhere within the Southeast. We've got the ability, and we've developed contacts outside of just who we are that we trust, that we can oversee the work they do. So I can send boots on the ground, so to speak, but I can also pull in other resources.
Okay, as we are putting that clear coat of paint on the canvas that you've created for the people to understand what it is that you do you mind sharing with us maybe an example of an engagement that you had, how you went about helping one of those K-12s or helping one of those commercial buildings with their security process?
All right. I think that really we have built our business without a salesperson, except about a year and a half ago when we finally hired our first sales person. Everything that we've done has been word of mouth. So we're able to compete with people. We have to respond to RFPs and things like that. But really our growth has been word of mouth. And a great example is a small, I won't say who they are, but it's a small school district that's about 45 minutes outside of Atlanta. And when we went and we met with them, they said that they have SPLOS, but their biggest income from SPLOS was a Dollar General store and an Ingles grocery store. Outside of that, there was very little. You go to Fulton or DeKalb or Gwinnett or Atlanta, and their SPLOS dollars are pulling in from so much. This poor district needed things, and they weren't able to do it because they did not have the money to do it. Now, Governor McKemp is giving money to schools now for security, and I applaud that. But this is going back 8 years ago. It wasn't happening in that time. So we were able to sit down to them, and we treat each individual customer uniquely based on what their needs are. So, in the security industry, your standards are you do an assessment, you look at local trends, regional trends, national trends, what problems are they having, what problems do you have to anticipate they're going to have, and you build that platform. And being a consultant, I always went in and saying, okay, let's find out what the best solution for you. I didn't have like one device, hey, use this. And a lot of integrators, I'm not saying it's bad, it's just not our style, they may lead with one or two different products, and that's what they sell. We don't do that. We look at the unique circumstances of that customer. We find something that works for them, and we make sure that we are marking it up as low as we can to while we still make a profit, and we're giving them something that's going to last 10 plus years. All right. We want them to be comfortable with the fact that their investment is not going to end in 4 years. That some of these things can last 8 and 10 years before you really need to retrofit and upgrade the technology. So when we went into this district, we were able to negotiate with a camera company that gave us a great deal. We passed that on to them. We came up with some unique solutions. We found some free software for them. So we did something that really helped them lay a foundation that now when they have money, you aren't throwing things out. You aren't throwing the baby out with the bathwater. All you're doing is changing the bathwater. Then we changed from a free software platform to a true VMS, video management system, access control system, duress system, and then integrated all those together. And we've been with this same district for the last, since 2012, maybe. We've been with them, and all of our customers, we have held on to everybody for years.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. I feel it's important for the people that are watching to know, to truly understand what it is that you're doing, because there's so many aspects of security. I just wanted you to highlight yourself a little bit more. Now, we've talked about your journey. We've talked about your experience in the military. We've talked about you going all over the world doing these covert missions, and then also now
I am no hero, man. Let's don't blow that up, all right? I am no hero. I served. I did what I was supposed to do, and there's a lot of people, so I applaud everybody. And we always should remember everyone that's deployed, because there's people doing it right now, safeguarding us.
Absolutely. For myself, I've always said that, our freedom isn't free, and it is important for us to recognize we couldn't do any of these things without our military. So no, I'm not trying to super hype it up, but you made the decision to serve when so many won't. So I'm definitely highlighting that part. And along with that, you started your business, failed miserably, then now you got this one spectacular. I'm sorry, you did it great. You said you did it great.
All the way, baby.
And with that, I am confident that you have acquired and nurtured some business skills or some best practices that have helped you to find some success. Do you mind sharing with the audience that is watching today some of those skills so maybe they can strive toward that same success?
I think a couple of things. First off, the biggest skill I've acquired is leadership. All right? It's easy to get a child to go to a candy store, to get a child to go and do something they don't want to do, that they're uncomfortable doing. That is much more difficult. So leading someone to do something they enjoy, easy. Get them to do something that they're afraid of, that they're uncertain about. That's what true leadership is. So I think the biggest skill that I've acquired is that ability to coax and coach someone to get them where I know they want to be and where we as a company need them to be. So I'm always going to put my people first, what they want. All of our employees have been long-term. We've only had a couple that have quit, and that was really good circumstances for them. But it came about with the leadership, and we're a leadership-driven organization. I'd love to be able to say I understand finances. No, I don't. I'd love to be able to say I understand taxes. No, I don't. I look at very simple overviews of the business, but I've got people that work for us that can get down into the weeds and let me know. I also joined a mentoring group. The one that I'm participating in is called Convene, and it is a Christian-based organization where we sit around in a conference room once a month, all day long. Actually doing it this Thursday in Duluth, and we sit in this conference room. There's about 12 of us, and I mean these are real guys. I mean they asked me, why do you want to join Convene? Almost 2 years ago, and I said, because I don't know what the hell I'm doing. All right, so these are, and they all laughed and said, we don't either. And there's some really $25 million businesses that are in that room. And so they coach us up. They were really the board of directors for each other. So when we have a problem, we need an attorney. I had a couple of guys refer an attorney to. We need insurance. We have this issue. We've got a problem with an employee. We're looking for someone. One of the guys just sold his business. And that was a 16, 17-month process of him bringing paperwork in from the attorneys. And we had people in there helping him check out the paperwork. So we have finance people, we have HVAC people, we have a company that does pipes for the road work, plastic pipe, big pipes. I mean, is a wide range of businesses that are in there. But I think that, to me, that has been the biggest help, is having people that I can bounce these thoughts of, these ideas, these fears, these uncertainties, all the thing that comes into mind for an entrepreneur, a business owner. You need people that you can surround yourself with that have been there and have overcome it. So always going back to that okay moment, looking at that and being able to say, all right, who do I find that's better than me? And honestly, it ain't easy it ain't hard to find someone who's better than me. It's really not difficult at all. But it's learning to submit to that, to walk through it, and to reach out to somebody that you trust.
I definitely appreciate you sharing that, because what you're telling us is don't try to walk the path alone. There are too many intelligent, knowledgeable people out there that you can align yourself with to help you along the journey, because you can only go so far by yourself. So I definitely appreciate you sharing that. Now, we've talked a lot about your journey, your business, the business skills, but I do want to take a few minutes and talk about the human that is sitting here beside me, Jim. Now, let's just say that business is coming along well, contracts are in place, time and money are not an issue. What is it that Jim would do with his time?
I knew you were going to ask that question, and I've been thinking about it a lot. It's a tough question. I mean, first off, I'm 66. So, which is still young, but at that point in my life, I've kind of learned a lot of different things. And honestly, my most honest answer is, I'm doing it right now. I'm doing it right now. I've got all three of my sons are in this business. All three have worked for our business. One is still with us. Another one is a very high level at a large manufacturer, and another one is in sales, doing really, really well. Business development for a very large national integrator. And my wife and I, we live up in Blue Ridge. We work remote, so I come into Atlanta about 3 or 4 times a week. We stay with the grandkids. I have my meetings. If I usually schedule a couple. I'll be all week long, because I'm coming here and then going to Milledgeville tomorrow and then Duluth on Thursday. So I'm staying with family members. Blue Ridge is a great town to live. We moved up there full time the summer before COVID. We've had the little cabin for about 10 years, so we bought it before the prices just went crazy. We got a little pontoon on the lake. Baby, I'm living my dream.
Nice.
I got my grandkids, 6 grandkids. I love my wife. Man, we just have fun. If I was 50,
yes,
yeah, it might be different. It might be different. If money was no object, I'd buy 100 acres and become a rancher.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I could go bankrupt from ranching.
Oh,
that's
my
a
goodness.
roughest way to make a living.
Yes, that's tough. That's hard work.
Yeah, it is. But that would be the dream.
Yeah, we think we're doing hard work. Being a rancher is super hard. You know, I've talked to a couple of them in the past. But thank you so much for sharing that, because again, we know that you're great at strategizing, being a leader, you know, helping others get their goals accomplished. But I did want to talk about you for a second, so I definitely appreciate you sharing that. Now, if the people that are watching today have questions about your security products, if they have questions about your skills, maybe even that mentorship group you're part of, what's the best way for them to get in contact with you?
All right. Well, our website is rrttech.com. My personal email, business email, is jimc@rrttech, 2 R's, 2 T's, rrttech.com, and you can shoot me an email. I'd be happy to answer any questions, send you in the direction for Convene if you have that interest, or if you want to find your own. There's several that are out there, but yeah, I'd be happy to help anybody that I could.
Awesome. And, you know, we always appreciate our guests coming on and sharing. It's not always easy. It was easy for you. You've done a great job. And we want to honor you for coming on the show, and we honor you by giving you the last word. So please look into the camera and tell the people something good.
You know what? I think the biggest thing is that what's good about this country are the people of this country. And politics all aside, you know, whether you are a Make America Great Again guy, or you feel like that's not necessary, it's none of that. What I want to say to you is that the best thing about this country is you. It's me. It's you. It's all of us together. Different colors, different ethnic backgrounds, different sexes, different religious beliefs, all of that. It doesn't matter, because we're all Americans. So if we can do one thing, it's bringing us together, and that it's okay to disagree. It's okay to have a different idea. We all pretty much think the same things or problems in our country. It's pulling it together to find a solution. So if I just want to say one thing I feel like is good, it's that America already is the most free and the most wonderful country in the world. And we've not achieved our full greatness. And we will when we all come together.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on the show today.
All right, man.
I truly do appreciate your time. And to everyone that is watching, be kind and thanks.